Hi, everyone. So YouTube's being fun. On my end, it's saying, please stand by, even though it says, hey, you're streaming, excellent quality, which is why I was asking my darling chat, am I streaming? And then I went into a different source, and yes, it's streaming. It's just the joys. Oh, the joys of streaming. There's always a little quirk or something. Anyways, hello, it's Thursday, even though I normally am starting to do these on Fridays, but tomorrow I have plans to meet up with some other wonderful people from the D&D world, and we're going to go and have lunch together, which means that my normal time for doing this isn't going to be happening. So let me quickly close something out here. There we go. Echo, echo. And today I am super excited to share this all with you. And it's something that is going into the whole Cobalt Press terrain thing that I'm doing for them. And is that music too loud? Let me see here. Little nudge. So this is something, it's a concept that I pulled together because of what I need for Cobalt Press. They're having me make terrain for them. A few of the stipulations with this terrain build, and it's something I dealt with D&D in a castle when I brought my own terrain and miniatures over there for the game I was DMing. They need it to be compact, they need it to be portable, they need it to be lighter and durable. So I have been trying to think of a way to get this going where basically it's an easy make for cobblestone. Look, I have my tea. I finished my first cup and it was warm this morning. It was a miracle. But it was one of those things where I wanted to make sure I was able to provide, because they want cobblestone. It's a city environment. Zobek is a city. So we wanted to make sure we have this feeling of being in a city. The layout of the floor is city-like type of thing. And it's one of those things where I was trying to figure out the best way to do this, because let's face it, trying to make cobblestone handmade, little brick, little stone by little stone, that gets to be very time consuming. It also gets to be one of those things where it even is hard to keep consistency by hand, because sometimes it goes a little bigger, a little smaller. Trust me, I've tried in the past, which is why I sort of abandoned it and it hasn't been a video yet. Then I went back to my roots. I actually grew up in the house where my mom was an interior decorator, and there was tons of stuff everywhere all the time between fabric swatches and different types of wallpaper and things like that. And that's where I remembered there was this wallpaper she would get every so often for clients that was textured wallpaper. If you're not familiar with this is something where I was actually kicking myself that it took me this long to think of it. You can buy wallpaper that's paintable, and it basically goes on with either wallpaper paste or, I'll show you today, other methods. And it comes in different textures, and there's a variety from stucco to grass to woven to da-da-da-da. And what I ended up snagging, and this is actually on my Amazon shop link on my website. So if you want to order this, it's www.thecraftingmuse.com. Go to my Amazon shop tab and scroll down, and this will be at the very bottom. This is a product from Brewster is the name of the company. It's the Winnipeg line. And it is this textured wallpaper that, I'm going to show you the painted version, that when you get it painted up, and considering scale and everything, it has a very cobblestone-like appearance to it. And now it's one of those more free-form cobblestones. It's not the extremely linear brick-like cobblestone. But what you end up with is, this is a base layer of color. We're not going to keep it green. But what you end up with is this very stony-like texture. And it's one of those things where it's stupid easy to use. It's one of those situations where this is durable. This is made to be painted. This is made to be on walls, which means that people are going to be touching it and everything like that. That probably just got picked up by the microphone too, because it's right there. So you get some ASMR there. But this was an approach where I realized this is going to give me what I need. It's going to give me the durability. It's going to give me the lightweight. It's going to give me compact putting in everything together. So, and hello to everyone popping into the chat. It's so great to see all the usuals. I saw, I'm going to just read what I can see right now. Alyssa, the last left, Eleftheria, Mac Attack, Dice-Ogre, 14zer. I'm going to stop there because you have a nice long name. Opera Ghost, hello, the Maharishi. And I know I saw Bill in there a little bit earlier. So thank you so much for joining me today. I'm super excited to show you how this all comes together. So it's just some products that you're going to need. And first of all, like I said, this wallpaper, she says as she looks for it, it comes in a large roll. And hold on just a second here. Urgh. Oh, and my monitor just got unplugged. No. I want to see the chat, silly things. So it comes in this large roll. Pardon me. Why did that turn off? There we go. It's turning back on. And it's going to cover a lot. And you can sometimes get these in samples as well. So this is the roll that I've got, and I've already done 5 panels. So I've cut out 5 panels. And so this is the wallpaper. The back is literally just the backing of wallpaper, not pasted. That's the thing to keep in mind. This is not the pre-pasted kind where you put it in the bathtub, you let it soak a little bit, it comes back out and the paste is on there. You don't want to call that. So this is non-pasted, which means you need your own adhesive. You can get wallpaper paste if you so choose. I'll tell you the other methods I've tried out so far. The one I like the best will work with. And would you believe I forgot something upstairs? And I'm going to need it. So this is the wallpaper. And I'm going to be right back because I can't go any further before I get the other things. So you just sit tight. Hang tight. I'll be right back. Just a moment, please. I'm just going to put this back on to... No, I'll leave it floating. I'll leave it floating. I'll be right back because I forgot. Ah! Okay, I'm back. I meant to grab it with my cup of tea, but I got so excited for tea, I forgot to grab this. So this is the backing. God. We're off to a fantabulous start. So this is the backing. Again, not pasted. I'll explain some other things for you. It is a nice size here. This is 20 across, I believe, is the width on this one. And it's one of those things where... Hello. Oh my gosh, everyone's jumping in here. So hello, Mixonovich. Hello, Eric Burton. Hello, Daniel. Hello. So this is one of those things where to get this roll off of Amazon, Prime shipping was $34. And yes, that sounds like a lot, but I'm also planning on making not only panels for Kobold Press, but for myself. So we have it for our terrain too. So it's a slight investment up front, but the time, it's definitely worth the time. The time you get back is invaluable. So what you basically will need to do is get your piece cut out ahead of time to make it a lot easier on yourself. Hello, Ron. If you try and work with this on the roll and getting things attached, it's going to take forever. So I basically just cut out a swatch size that I needed. Now I am working with canvas board for this. And canvas board is basically canvas on a board. Big surprise. The one I snagged, I got from Walmart. You can find this canvas board really in any craft supply store. And I am working with the 12 by 16 size because, again, this needs to fit. The goal is it needs to fit into a carry-on. So this is the size I'm working with, the 12 by 16. This is the brand I'm working with, though honestly, any type of canvas board should be good. I have used this brand. I used a different one that I picked up at Michael's. So both are great. And they travel nicely and they're lightweight. So again, we're hitting those points that we have been discussing myself with Kobold about what they need for this whole terrain setup. So this is something you're going to want to get. The pack was, I think it was like $9.99 for 6 of them, which is great. So I'm going to be making up 4 of these for Kobold. So they have a nice option to do either 3 stacked in a longer rectangle. They can do 4 side by side type of thing. And when you get it, some of them will have plastic covering on them. Some of them come without the plastic covering. It's just their way of sort of protecting each panel. So you'll want to take the plastic off, obviously. And then, where is the one I had prepped? And then, let me take the plastic off this one. And then it's just a matter of deciding how you want to get everything mapped out for yourself. I find it easiest if you take your measurements that you need for this. Basically, you want an overlap of 1 inch on either side. I'll show you here. So you can see here that I've already got the wallpaper cut out. I actually took my ruler and measured in 1 inch on either side so that when it comes time to stick this on top of the wallpaper, you actually get this nice little grid so you know exactly where you want to put this so everything's nice and balanced. When it comes time to applying this, you're actually going to apply it to the canvas side. The reason why you're going for the canvas side is because it gives you more texture and more grip, which means that this paper is really going to adhere nicely to it. Let's talk about sticking options. I tried out Mod Podge matte, just classic Mod Podge from the bottle. So this loveliness. I did try this first and it works. It does work nicely. However, what I learned with that is that you need to be sure that the layer you put on of the Mod Podge is extremely thin. If it goes on too thickly, you will get this issue of bubbling and warping, which if you've hung wallpaper before, which I have, you will run into that every so often, and it's nothing that a pop of a pin and a credit card can't smooth out if you catch it in time, and that's the problem. So Mod Podge is an option. Just keep in mind it's going to be a little bit more of a babysit project. You're going to have to make sure it doesn't warp a little bit, it doesn't get those bubbles, and if those bubbles do pop up, you have to pop the bubbles. Hello, Puddin'! Hi, Puddin'! And so from that, I did consider using just classic wallpaper paste, but the tub is massive, and it was way more than I'd actually need for it. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me try. Like I said, the back of this is actually, it's a very nice paper. It's one of those things I'm like, this is dry enough. It doesn't have the pre-paste on it, so that should help. So what I did is I went to my tried and true craft glue stick. This is the Elmer's Craft Bond Extra Strength glue stick. Now these I will crack open because they really do hold. This is the glue stick I was using for the terrain stuff that I was making map-wise for the castle, so I knew this was going to be what I wanted to get. Normally I'm like, a glue stick. Get your glue stick. I don't care what kind of glue stick. In the case of this project, make sure it is this Craft Bond style because that is really what makes the difference. So you want to get this Craft Bond. Be sure about that. And hello, hello, hello. Jan, hello. Eris, hello, darling. So once you get these all set up, you have your canvas board ready. You have your wallpaper cut out to the size you need with extra inch margins on either side. Again, you want to make sure it's all there. So you can see here, da-da-da-da. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take this glue stick and you're going to apply it to the canvas side of your canvas board. So let me just quickly, the best way to do this, and there's a reason it's going out of style, says put in about wallpaper. Wallpaper is intensive. Don't get me wrong. It has some lovely results for those of you who like that look for their homes. But there's no wallpaper in my home. There's painted walls. So what I do first to get this going is you want to take the glue stick and you're going to go for your edges first. Don't go to the inside and don't like work it across like this. Start with your edges first because your edges are really where you want that bond to make sure it's taking and well. And so I'm just going around getting my perimeter of the canvas board. And once I know I have it all, that's when I'm going to start working in. All right, so I have my perimeter completely done. And now I'm just going to take it and do nice even sweeps. If you get anything like a little clump, you are going to want to go in with your finger and smooth it out. Otherwise, that clump will translate into how this is setting against the wallpaper. So do be careful about it getting too clumpy, too lumpy, too bumpy. Not good. You want this a smooth, thin layer. All right, thin layer is your operative word here. You don't need to glob it on. The other thing you could use is the PVA white glue. That would be fine too, but again, like Mod Podge, just make sure it is a very thin, smooth layer. When I say thin, I mean like almost barely. Remember how you used to smear it on your hands as a kid? Please, someone understand what I'm saying here. Otherwise, I'm going to sound like that weirdo. Aw, thank you, darling. Aw, Eris, you are a sweetheart. By the way, if you notice in the pre-stream run that Eris has been so kind to provide a lovely 10% discount. So, yeah, go and check out Eris's shop. So now that this has a nice even coating, which is kind of hard to show because white with light. No, you can kind of get it. Okay, so now that it has a pretty even coating, you can see how it looks here. I don't have any lumps or bumps on this. What I'm going to do is flip it so it's face side down. And I'm going to use those grid lines that I created on the edges of the wallpaper itself. And that just kind of helps as a rough guide. You don't have to make it perfect, but you just want to stick it on there and get that adhered. So what you then want to do is take your hands and with nice even pressure, you're going to, in a circular motion, basically press this against the paper to make sure it really takes. What is this amazing surprise stream? It's a stream because I can't do the terrain stream tomorrow, even though I'm supposed to do them on Friday. Friday I have plans. Your girl's getting out. Your girl's getting out in the world. She's going to go have lunch with some friends and say hi. And I'll take pictures. You guys will see who I'm hanging out with tomorrow. I can't wait to see them again. It was so much fun in Philadelphia. There's your hint. So yeah, I'm going to be on the road for a little bit tomorrow, having lunch, enjoying that, and then back on the road again to drive back up so I can do the Nerdarchy game tomorrow night. Yay! I'm a little busy tomorrow. I'm busy today, but it's all good busy. So once you've made sure that everything has been smoothed out as best you can on this side, I do recommend you flip over. Now keep in mind, when you go to work on this, this is going to get painted. You do want your hands relatively clean, all right? But should you get anything on here, don't freak out. You will be fine. But I do go back onto the top and just make sure I smooth out. Like right here, I'm feeling a bubble. So whenever you feel a bubble, just take your hand and work it out towards the nearest edge. And you'll actually audibly hear a little, or a sound escape from the paper. That's how you know you got your bubble out. If you are having a hard time, should you get any of these bubbles, just take a pin, like a safety pin or a straight needle, anything like that, and you'll insert it into where that bubble is, and then you'll actually, it's going to sound gross, it's going to be kind of like popping a pimple. So you stick the pin in, and then you just would push your fingers together to help the air escape, and then smooth it out flat. Hopefully you can catch this as well. This is wet. So that is a wax. All right, I love how the chat's like wax on, wax off. Yes, you didn't know you're going to get your martial arts practice in here as well. So that's what you want to do to get this main panel attached. Then what I'm going to recommend you do is take this, find a flat surface, and put a couple of heavy books on top. And that is going to make sure that this adheres nicely and evenly. So I'm actually going to jump over to my little side table that I have to make sure that that has a place to rest. I'll be right back. I'm not too far away. Oh, someday I'll have a nice big studio, right? Where everything is just where I need it. A girl can dream. So that being said, that's how you get the initial bit on. You cut out your paper first to the size you need it. Make sure you have inch margins on either side, all sides, for play. Plus you also need it for getting it attached to the back. You'll see why. And then make sure that this dries. Dry time for me right now has taken maybe about 15 minutes, I want to say. It's also been a nice, cool, crisp fall day for me. So just, take your time with this. You don't want to rush it. But once it is dry, this is why I love this craft bond paper. It's on there, okay? It's not moving. And that's the kind of attachment that you want. So it's dry. It is on. Next, she'll have us painting the fence. Oh, yeah. We're going to go full Tom Sawyer here, folks. Okay, so that's a good question from Opera Ghost. I was considering foam board. Why I didn't go with foam board is because this is a paper. This is a paper product. And yes, there is some vinyl to it, but God forbid anything comes in contact with this as well as the foam board. We know how pliable foam board is. Do I have a scrap? Oh, hold on. I gotta reach. I'll show you exactly why if I can get this scrap piece of foam board. Here we go. So foam board, first of all, it does bend and warp. Okay, that's a strike against it. Also keep in mind, this is foam and paper. This is paper with some vinyl. God forbid, while in transport, something like a pen or something silly gets put in with it. That's going to happen. Okay, so this is why I don't recommend using foam board for this. It's going to be too weak, too flimsy. It doesn't give you the strength that you need for this backing. The canvas board, however, whoops, the canvas board, however, you might have whatever the sharp object is pushing against it, but it's not permeating through even the wallpaper itself, so it's stopping it. So the canvas board is purposely used. Like I said, I did this for the castle for transport. I knew this is strong. It doesn't warp too easily. It's rigid, and that's why I went for the canvas board. So I really wouldn't recommend any type of foam. You could use, I'm blanking. What is that wood called? Composite stuff. And I was actually looking at it. Issue with that type of wood, once I remember the name, it gets heavy really fast. This is all cardboard and fabric and paper, basically. So it still keeps it light and lightweight, I should say. So that is why canvas board. So great question, Opera Ghost. Thank you for asking that. Now you know. So once this is dry, what glue did I use for it's the Craft Bond from Elmer's, their craft stick. Love this stuff. This is my baby. Going back to this stick, hardboard. Yes, hardboard you can use. Just remember, anything that has the wood going on with it, the weight catches up with you quickly. This stuff, it does get heavier. MDF. Thank you. Okay, Jonathan, thank you. MDF. It gets heavier as you go along. And like I said, there are going to be 4 of these panels included. And the whole thing is that Wolf King is hoping to get this all into at least a carry-on. So I'm trying to work with that request as well to get it so most of the stuff can be put into a carry-on safely in its own various compartments, and away they can go for different conventions and stuff. So what I'm going to do now is I love how the chat just jumps in and helps me out with questions too. So like, okay, that's taken care of. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to my glue stick, not a hot glue gun, but a glue stick. And I'm first going to take care of getting these edges pinned down. So I start on opposite sides, and this is more just for the sake of keeping everything even. But like I showed you, this glue holds it. It is on there nice and tight. So I'm going to go on either side here. Always cap your glue stick. Be kind to your glue stick. And then starting from, I got to turn this, I just by nature have to turn this. Starting from your center, and this is the important thing, if you've ever done upholstery, like I said, so much of my interior decorating past is coming back to haunt me, so to speak. You're going to pull from the center and bring that up and over your edge. And then just carefully keep that tension going as you pull it across your edge here. Oh, hello, teacup. And do the same to the other side. All right. And you'll be surprised how quickly this glue will take this and say like, oh, okay, yeah, we're sticking now. So that's the one side. MDF would be fantastic for home use. Absolutely. If that's an option you want to do, go for it. I am keeping travel in mind, especially since having traveled as a DM. A lot of what I'm making now, I'm trying to keep in mind that not every DM has the luxury of playing at home. Oftentimes, some of them are going to game stores and things like that. So I'm trying to make things as travel friendly as possible for everyone. Again, this is why I like this glue stick in particular, because it holds, even though it's not completely dry yet, it's pretty darn stuck at this point. So I'm happy with that one. So that takes care of either side. So I went with my width sides on this one. And then I'm going to be doing the length. So I'm just making sure everything's sort of smoothed out, ready to go. The nice thing is that with this other side, if for some reason you have a little spot that's gapped, you can go back in with a little bit of PVA and a paintbrush, sneak it under your seam, and get a little extra sticking right there. That's a good point too. So Macatak saying with hardboard has a crucial problem. You give the edge a hard knock and the layers splay. Something to keep in mind. Like I said, my personal recommendation is going to be this canvas board, which does come in various sizes. It's the other thing to keep in mind. I think the largest you can get is 18 by 24. Something like 18, but it was in the 20s. It was like the higher teens and the 20s, I want to say. Maybe even a little bit higher than that. So you can get some decent sizes going, which is fantastic. So now that, here's what it looks like when it comes in the package for the glue, if you need that. Let me just tuck this out of the way. So now I'm going to get the other sides going. But what I'm going to do first is do a fold ahead of time. And then, this is the important thing, I'm going to create a corner right here. So basically carefully lifting up the edge on the first side and having it meet so we get like this little triangle shape going on here. Let me see if I can show you. So it pops up. Okay, so that's something that you want to make sure you're doing. Do the same thing on the other side. And that's going to get me ready for what I'm going to need to do next. So now I'm going to... Hello, Isaac. How are you? Oh, and Macatak, hello. And Jim Davis. Is that Slain Jim? Or just someone with a coincidental name? Because that would be funny. All right, so now I'm going to take this glue, run it along that edge. Now, in this case, I'm not doing both sides at the same time type of situation. I'm going to take care of this side first, do the corners, rotate to get the other side. Same thing as before. Go to your center point with your tension. Pull back against that board so that the wallpaper wraps around nicely. And then just start bringing it to one side, smoothing it out. When you get to the edge here, it'll help to hold the paper up a little bit. And then you want the paper to meet at this corner. Kind of let it kiss. And then my recommendation here is to just take one side and opt to just tip it up a little bit. Smooth it so that it has that. And then you can do the same to the other side. And just leave it like that for now. We will take care of this after this dries. Let's see here. What about plexiglass or acrylic? I honestly did not consider either or, to be frank, more because of trying to get that stuff cut might be a little bit more of an issue. I went for ease and quick and simple to do. It's something where I don't want to assume that certain materials are available to everyone. Pardon me, I need my tea because I'm taking allergy medication and it is drying me out like crazy. So I'm doing the same thing to the other side. Again, you start from the center, keep that tension as you pull it across. When you get to that corner, have those bits kiss, little kiss. And then I'm just going to flip the edge both sides. 1, 2, flip it back up to 1 so that your edge is going to, so I can get this up, there we go. So your edge is going to look like that right now. Okay. And now we'll flip to the other side. And again, if you have any little bit of bubbling, you can always go back in with a little bit more of the Elmer's PVA glue on a paintbrush and just a very thin layer, smooth underneath, and then you can take care of that. We do the same thing to the other side. Yeah, so there's, like I said, this is one of those things where, oops, got ahead of myself. Yeah, we'll work with it. This is one of those things, if you have other options, by all means, yes, you can absolutely do what you were hoping to do with other products. I'm keeping this in mind for what the needs were for those who are ordering this. So it has to be lightweight, compact, and all that good stuff. Let me just quickly wipe away. I got some excess glue on here. There we go. No big deal. Again, work my center out. Get my corner up. And away we go. Again, get that to kiss. Flip, flip. Do the same to the other side. Meets in the center. Oop, hold on. There we go. Chat is off and running. So yeah, if you have the materials to use different types of baseboards, go for it. If you are the common crafter, where your basic tools are a hot glue gun, scissors, utility knife, and all that sort of thing, the canvas boards are really your best bet, is what I'm going to say. Having done this before with the maps that I did for the castle. It's just a lot easier to have these on hand. They're materials that are readily found. And then basically now everything is set and attached. And again, what you're going to want to do is turn this so it's face up, good side up. And then again, put some heavy books on top of this to make sure that everything gets a good sticking to, so to speak. So let me shift this over. And that's getting set now. Ta-da! Now, once you get all that done, what you'll be able to do is trim away that excess paper with either a sharp pair of scissors or a utility knife. First time I've used textured paper for a terrain build, not the first time I've worked with textured wallpaper. But for the terrain build, it's one of those things I was like, oh yeah, that stuff's out there and I forgot about it. There's actually, there's different varieties. If you take a look at the, like I said, this was Brewster, was the product line. They have some, there's actually one I want to get a hold of for a waterboard. No, not torture. God. There's one where the texture of it is looking like waves, and I want to see if I can get a hold of that and maybe in the future have a way to do some easy water terrain, because with Waterdeep and all these other ship-based games that are coming out, that could be a really cool and fun way to get some water set up for you quick and easy. So now that those are drying, I need to get back to, what did I do with it? Oh, there it is, right next to me. So what I did was, I'll show you here in the back. So what I did was teach you how to waterboard. Oh my God, there goes the monetization right there. Not waterboard, waterboards, like terrain YouTube, oh, YouTube, whatever. So what I did is basically I went in and where those flaps were, you're just going to take a pair of scissors. In my case, I just took a pair of scissors and carefully just trim the excess away. Once you trim that away, you can even go back with a little bit more of the glue and just put that there to make sure those edges are placed down nice and flat. Actually, there was a spare piece right there. And then you'll end up with these nicely mitered corners all set and ready to go. When that is done, you'll be able to flip this over. And I actually went for some spray paint for this one and just sprayed this whole thing down. And I thought, nah, I'm kind of experimenting right now. We had We had spray can wise, we had black, and then we had this really deep green. I'm like, let me try the deep green because I'm trying to do color combinations that are not going to end up gray. That was also the other big request is they want this to have some color aspects to it. So I'm doing more of a sandstone-esque like cobblestone. So you can take your spray paint and you can spray it down. You can also, if you wanted to, you could do the classic Mod Podge mix with the black paint or the pavement like I like to do. Or you can even mix it with burnt umber if you want to do more of a really dark brown undertone to it. But you can add your first layer of basically a primer. But remember, this wallpaper is made to take paint, which is fantastic. So you can do that and get that going. And again, the board has not warped. We don't have bubblage. We have everything there like we need it to be, which is super easy, super fantastic. For me, this whole start to finish for this board, and this is actually one of the larger boards. This one is this like the, hold on. Which size was this one? Yeah, I can measure. This one's the 18 by 14, I think was the measurement on this one. Yeah, these are the 18 by 14 ones. This is what I actually had left over from the castle before I started buying other things, just to make sure I liked it. So doing this all together took me maybe about, oh geez, half an hour, I want to say, simply because of the dry time. I was really looking out in that respect. And for some reason, there we go. Now you're back. Hello, Zach Meow. So that, oh yeah, the canvas and the caulking, that's another one that can do the flexible mat stuff that's being talked about in the chat. So now that this is all dry and this is set to go, I'm going to get into a painting option. And like I said, this is not going to be the classic, you can see I'm using my paint plate from yesterday. This is not going to be the classic sort of dungeon tile-esque of the grays. I'm going to work in warm browns and creams and even a little bit of red. Ooh, we're getting dangerous today. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to work with burnt umber. And I'm using this green undertone just because I wanted to play. You can do whatever color you want, but I felt a little fun and playful today. And I am going to go into using my sponges. All right, the cosmetic sponges. In this case, because this is larger, you could even feasibly use just a classic kitchen sponge. Again, sort of tear it up a little bit so you get more of a texture. You could even use a natural sponge if you so choose. All of that is up to you. But essentially what I'm not trying to do here is a full coverage with the burnt umber. It's more getting the colors around. You guys are chatty today. Yay! Taking a break from recording, got a deadline tonight. Ooh. Well, welcome and hope you have a lovely break, Zach Meow. Meow. But yeah, so I'm doing my classic, just ripped off the bits of foam so it's all texture-like. There you go, you can see. And I'm just going to dip it right into my burnt umber. And I'm going to start sponging that onto the board. And if you want this to go faster, by all means, you can use a larger sponge. I thought I had larger sponges. I don't know where they went. But the makeup craft or the makeup sponge will work out just fine. No problem at all. And you can see that it's starting to get that coverage, and you have some of your darker points and you have some of your lighter points, which is why I like the sponging. Now, just remember when you do sponging, turn your sponge every so often. Change the angle you're going in with your hand, just because you can get stuck in repetitive patterns if you're not careful. We have in our one bathroom, the previous owners did sponge the bathroom wall. She liked to sponge like this. So we have this one section of wall in our bathroom where it's like this spiral pattern of sponging, and it drives me nuts. It's just a matter of finding the time to get it painted over. And I actually am considering, after using this stuff, I'm like, maybe I might use some of the textured wallpaper because that could be fun. Hello, Kentucky Fried Gamers. I love your name. Your name just makes me smile. You're never late to the party, Mike. You show up when you can, and it's still a party going. It's a party until I send that heart at the end of the chat. How's that? A couple of you have picked up on that. You're like, wait, when you put the heart in, that means you've left the chat. Yes, it does. But I always love seeing people show up when they can. It's always, always appreciated. So right now I'm just going through and I'm sponging. Again, moving the sponge around, moving my hand around. just because I want some variety. And you'll find this absorbs the paint nicely. But like anything with paper, you don't want to overload too much. That's always something to keep into consideration. Even though this can take paint, you don't want to inundate it. Do I have a Van Gogh Sky bathroom? I wish. No, it's not that attractive. This is more like a spray can sputtering and splurting itself out of paint. And it's just, you can tell it's like, jeez, this spiral. If it were Van Gogh, I wouldn't be complaining at all. I'd be like, oh, cool. This is a fun concept. Hello, Mia. Nice to see you join us. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, yes, still going on. Even though their Kickstarter was a great success. Congratulations, Easy Dice Roller Company. Their Kickstarter is done, came to a close. They are fully funded. So if anyone backed them, those dice bags are happening. But they are still doing that lovely giveaway, which enter. Why are you not posting? I'm trying to say something. Oh, it's... Hold on. One moment, please. So there's the giveaway link. Hello, Jason Rifle. How are you? So that giveaway is still going on, and that is a chance to get one of those fantastic dice bags, the reversible ones that stand up on their own, all that loveliness, as well as a coordinating dice tray and some really cool metal dice they have going on for that one. So do get over there. You still have time to enter. I think we have 10 or 9 days left, 10 days. To get that going. So yay! Happy Friday Eve. I like that, Jason. Happy Friday Eve. I was debating what I didn't want to do is cancel this because we've just got these streams going. I didn't want to cancel. I'm like, let me just bump it up to Thursday. My Thursday afternoons are now available, so I might as well make use of it when I can. But let me tell you, I'm glad I've shifted my schedule around big time because looking at everything I need to get tackled for this terrain project is going to need that time. Absolutely. I know, haven't seen you since yesterday either. Jeez, I'm telling you. Hi, Jedi Jam. Hello. Let me just do something here. I'm going to alter my camera slightly because I'm looking down more. There we go. Since I have to lean over. To get this. Now I'm kind of wishing that I got one of the smaller boards prepped. But you're getting the idea here. It's just basically going through, and like I said, if I had a bigger sponge, this wouldn't take so long. And I want the colors to play through with each other. Again, for the cobblestone effect, not all your stones are going to be the same exact color all the way through. And I'm going for a very sort of the sandstone, limestone even, color combination, not so much the grays. And really, you could do whatever sort of color play you want. With this, I'm rotating the board like this for me right now. Just for sweeping motion factor. And I'm all for having fun with colors too. You know, bring something different to the table, literally, instead. Let's see. Oh, I wanted to, it's not Friday, but it is Terrain Feature Friday is the title of this for reasons. Oh, I don't know if you can see that right there, but that is one of those bubbles because this was done with the Mod Podge. There's a bubble right there I tried to get to and it just wasn't happening. So this is going to be one of ours. Don't worry, Cobalt, I'll give you the nice ones. Yes, tonight is the Dawnbringers. Cantrielle is ready to play. She's in a feisty mood. She's not thrilled with the fact that we've been blamed. We've been blamed for the dwarves coming in on a slave ship, which is not the case. No. I'll have you know. Okay, so, where'd he go? I'm looking for Chris. So the first person I want to show off to you, a fantastic mini painter. There you are. His name is Christopher Gorka. And, oh, I gotta get closer. I'm so used to the mini thing being further away. He's in a few of the crafting groups. He's actually in the Tabletop Crafters Guild. You'll see him pop up every so often. But he does some really, truly awesome work. Here, this one was just like, are you kidding me? Look at this. Look at that. He does really fantastic miniature work. So please go check out Chris on Instagram. He is also on Facebook. It's gorka.chris on Instagram. It's Chris Gorka in general. Do go and give this fellow a look because he really, what he's producing is fantastic. He also has done things like, I've loved the Harry Potter series that he had going on. He got a few of those done. I don't know if you remember him sharing those, but that's a fellow who I 100% enjoy seeing what he puts up there because of how cool and how detailed and the nuances of what he puts into his painting. Wonderful stuff. So that's the first person I wanted to show off to you. And then there's more. Hold on, I gotta get to them though. My Instagram hiccuped a little. I hate it. Like sometimes you open up Instagram and it like refreshes for you and you're like, no, come back. So where is it? Okay, here we go. Tabletop Creations. This is another account on Instagram. It's tabletop_creations. And they do some terrain building stuff. Let me find the one that I really thought was a cool looking one. They also get some miniatures in there, which is a lot of fun. Here we go. This is something they've been working on recently. It's the cathedral look here. So go and check them out too. Those are my two features for this Thursday. So we have Chris Gorka, miniature painter, and we have Tabletop Creations for terrain and some miniature painting as well. People have been asking, how do I get featured for the Friday stuff? Post stuff on social media. I love to go into my Instagram account especially. I'll start wandering and checking things out. So do be sure to Instagram and stuff like that. You can even send me, if you want to, just say, hey, I was hoping maybe you could feature me and I'll check your stuff out and all that loveliness. But that's really how I've been deciding on how to feature and who to feature. Just looking at what's being put out there and what they're producing. And if it catches my eye, I want to share them. So that is the how of it. There's really no huge rhyme or reason to it. It's also going to be something where I can use the Fridays as well for people who are doing certain projects that they want to be featured. I'll try and get those on there. I just kind of want to give people in the community a nice little alley-up. Is this the first one you had done, or have you tried it out before live streaming? I am painting it for the first time on live stream, but I've painted on the wallpaper stuff like this before. Does that make sense? And I'm just basically applying the techniques I've used for my traditional terrain boards. So like the forest terrain, if you watch that live stream, that's kind of similar idea here, except I'm not going to stick in the browns and the greens for that one. It's going to shift over to reds and taupes and beiges soon. Let's see. Oh my goodness. What else did I miss? What is the motivation for today's project? Someone's paying me to make it. Cobalt Press has hired me to make City of Zobek terrain for them because they want to be able to use this terrain at conventions for demos and such. If you are not familiar with Cobalt Press's materials, you absolutely need to go and check them out on cobaltpress.com and give it a look-see, because what they have out there is, I love working with their materials. I'm doing their Tales of the Armagrieve materials for my campaign that I do on their Twitch channel every Sunday. But I have had the Creature Codex, the Tome of Beasts, and all that loveliness for a while now, and those have become my two go-to books, quite frankly. Those are the ones I always gravitate toward. So do go and check out their products. You will not be disappointed at all. All right, so what I'm looking at now, and surprisingly, the camera's showing it quite nicely. I'm just going to, if there's areas where I just want to get a little bit more of the burnt umber in, and I am seeing some spots. So I have the whole board covered, but I am going to go back in and just sort of randomly dot around, just because that's how my eye is working right now. I'm like, oh, I need a little bit more over here. I actually want a little bit more through here. And you can just sort of go through and just add in a little bit more if you want and get that going. Basically what I'm doing here is I'm working with the fact that, if you've seen Old City Cobblestone, sometimes it has like, almost like a mossiness between the cracks and whatnot. I'm trying to play with that and do that with the green as my base color. But again, you can do whatever base color you want. Right now I'm going back in with burnt umber. Mia Geek. Mia, yes, you like the Midgard World Book? Oh, yes. Oh, yes, that is a heavy duty, lots of information, great stuff to use. Goodness like that. So definitely give that a look-see. I can't recommend their products enough. I am a Kobold girl. True. It's wonderful stuff. All right, so that is getting close to what I want. A little bit more through here. How are we doing on time? 12:45. We're doing just fine. I do have plans to cut this at about 1:30-ish usually. I try and keep the streams to about an hour or hour and a half. Yes, Viper, I said I would recommend using different sponges, but my other sponges are MIA. I don't know where they went. So I just went and grabbed my makeup sponges. Similar result, just takes a little bit longer right now. If I had my larger sponges, I absolutely would be using my larger sponges. It's just, this is all I had. So you use what you got. In crafting, you use what you got, right? See a little bit over here that I want to do. I kind of like that I can look at the screen and just sweep my arm across. Yay! All right, so that's about the coverage I want to do for this with the burnt umber. And now we're going to have fun, and I'm going to go in with sweet potato. It could theoretically, Lisa, be applied to hills. However, remember it is paper. So you are going to have to do your notch work, your slices, and your meetings of joints. So you could theoretically get that up on hills. You just have to be careful. All right, so this is sweet potato. I've got to get used to the focusing is going to be the fun part. So this is sweet potato from Apple Barrel. It's a nice, ruddy, orangey red, which is why I grabbed it. So I'm going to switch over to that. And I'm still keeping the same sponge as before. I'm not even worrying about cleaning it off or anything like that. And I'm going to go back in. Money, the ultimate motivator. Yeah. No, quite frankly, the second I started talking with Wolfgang about this project, he and I were both getting excited about it and the concepts, especially because of... Zobeck is a very unique city. It's not your typical medieval-esque concept. You have this quality of the gear forged being incorporated into it. You're going to find that this layer is going to go a heck of a lot faster. You have this clockwork factor built into Zobeck. So it's almost a steampunk type of aesthetic, to give a point of reference for that's a little bit more readily available. So it's one of those things where it's not just going to be portcullis. It's going to be a portcullis that has gizmos and gears for functioning, and you know, things like I just finished these random brick columns that they can use as scatter. And again, it's one of those things where I put some gears on there to nod to the fact that this is Zobeck. So I am extremely eager and excited to get this project underway. I made it and I got the first coat of paint on it. I'm doing like a town board so that we can put some flyers onto the town board. And I may even tap into the fact we have Dan Dillon, who does the World Tree Burns on the Kobold Press channel on Tuesdays, 8 o'clock. We all start at 8 o'clock. And they just broke out of the Citadel. So I might do a little tongue-in-cheek and have the PCs from that game as wanted or something along those lines. I thought that could be a funny nod to that game. And maybe put up something about the Margrave as well. Maybe some of the taverns or something. I don't know. So I'm just going to have fun with the town board. It's actually sitting right over there. If I have time, I'll show you guys. But, hi, your job is perfect. From Brazil. Well, hello, Danielle. Hello. Yeah, it's amazing what happens when you start jumping into your lighter tones after this. Kind of the way I try and do things if you want a formula. Not that I'm a total formula person here. I tend to do 2 darker tones, 2 mid-tones, 2 light tones to my terrain builds for groundwork and stonework. So my 2 dark tones were this very dark, it was called camo green. It's more like an olive green in my book. So did that, and then I did the burnt umber, and now I'm moving into my midtones. So my midtones here, we have sweet potato, and then I'm going to jump into chestnut as my next midtone, and you'll see why. But once you start getting this going, it actually pulls together a lot faster than before. And you'll find with each layer, it gets less and less having to go back over and whatnot. And I also recommend that you kind of scattershot your sponging as you go around. I'm lifting up the edges at this point now so I can sponge the edge. So that's why I'm holding it like this too. Love the floor, but why not make a swamp? Because I have a project that I've been hired to do, and this is going to be City Cobblestone. That is why. It is a cobblestone mat using textured wallpaper. But there are those different textures for different wallpapers, where there is one that could work nicely for a swamp base if you wanted to. like I said, I need to go back and take a look at more of these. And now that I know that this is working out as I'd hoped, I'm going to do things like try and get one for a water terrain mat set up so that it's transport, easy to go, lightweight, compact, which again, those are like the big check marks for this project. And then see what else I can explore with it. There is even one that would be really cool for desert terrain as well. The wallpaper is adhered to the canvas board that you can find in any craft store, literally canvas attached to cardboard. And I did that again because it's light. It comes in standard sizes and all that goodness. So still going through here with a sweet potato and moving this around. Dot, dot, dot. Yoink, push that up a little bit so you can still see that on screen. Future terrain builds, let's see. If you want some different approaches to stones put in, go to my dice tower tutorial. I give you two different options. There's a rainbow sandstone, and then there is a lighter grays concept that goes on. You can also check out my steps. There's a step tutorial with moss grout. What am I looking? Mortar lines. That's the word. So yeah, definitely go and check out. Some of my videos out there already do have different techniques for painting stonework and everything like that. You'd be surprised. There's a lot already on there on that channel. Lots of tutorials going. And yes, it's a terrain vid, Jonathan. Right now, this is definitely how I'm going to be doing a lot of my terrain stuff, is doing these live streams. All right, let me fix this right now, because right now I got into my own little swirl. There we go. That just fixed it up. Almost done with sweet potato. Sweet potato pie. I have to say, I did get a sweet potato pie and I tried it. I think it's better than pumpkin. Don't get me wrong, pumpkin pie is lovely, but I'm kind of looking forward to some sweet potato pies this fall. Absolutely. All right. Almost done. With a sweet potato, not completely done, but with the sweet potato, I'm almost done. Now, I have been looking, some people ask me my point of reference for this stuff. I have been looking at old European cities for a lot of color concepts here. I've jumped into Prague big time because they have a couple things I'm just like, ooh, okay. I like that a lot. All right, Jan, you tried it out. Yeah, you'll get there. I do have something fun planned for the, because I'm the one responsible for the October Guild build. I have something fun planned. Cold tea. Yeah, not the best. Still tastes good. All right, so this is the board now. We have our layering of the olive green, of the burnt umber, and now the sweet potato going on. So you can see that it's getting into this. It actually now looks more like camo. And then I'm going to go for my next mid-tone, which is Chestnut, also from, this is why I like the minis better, because I can get the paint to focus more. Let's do this. Will this work? That's the one thing I'm going to work on, is trying to get it so it can focus on the paints better. This is Chestnut from Apple Barrel, which is a nice medium tone brown. So I'm going to go in with that color now. Again, using that same sponge, not changing it out. And you're going to see this is actually going to move across even faster than the others. It's just the way it sort of works. Chat, you guys are awesome. I'm seeing you're helping answer questions as I go along. Fantastic. You're paying attention. A+ for everyone. A+ for everyone today. Yeah, see, and that's just it, Michael. That's why I've kind of landed on that particular city, because there is so much cool stuff to it. I am fully adoring what I see there concept-wise. So that's definitely going to become, I can speak pretty one day. It's definitely going to become one of those heavily referenced photos areas for me. The other one I'm kind of looking into is Petersburg. That's another one I'm taking a look at. A lot of it is more for color, because some of those buildings have some really interesting colors involved. And again, this is just chestnut brown going in. And you see it's definitely taking off a lot faster. Getting that color blended on, which is why I like the sponging. And again, you can use a bigger sponge. I just only had my craft fade, my little sponge. Here we go here. Do you think the scatter should match the terrain base? It depends. It depends. I honestly find that when things have a little variety to them, it adds to it. I mean, if you go to any, well, especially in cityscapes, if you go to any city, you have the combination, especially European cities, you have freaking old buildings. And I'm not talking like 200 years old like we have in the States. Nope, older, mixed in with modern builds. And that just gives it such a charming look. So I think, you know, if you're doing a city build, your scatter doesn't always have to match it perfectly. But that's my school of thought. I'm sure others will have different opinions, and that's okay. It boils down to, this is going to be on your table. What do you want to see on your table? How do you want to handle the look of your table? So let's see here. I'm trying to catch up with the chat. Ooh, Michael used to live there. That's very cool. Stones and esoteric houses. Yeah, it could be sort of a forest floor, but it's going to change soon. This could be an autumnal forest floor. It could. But pretty soon I'm going to jump up colors and you're going to see where I'm going with this. Because like I said, I'm trying not to do a gray. I really want this to pop out and have a different aesthetic to it. But I'm also experimenting a little bit because this is the one I'm keeping for my house. And if I like the way this comes out completely, if there's no tweaking that I need to make on my end, more so for color preference than anything else, then I will recreate this for the other boards that'll be going to Cobalt. Or I might have to make a color adjustment here or there. It happens. But yeah, I'm having fun with this, but it's one of those... Ooh, spacey. It's one of those things I'm having fun and enjoying it. And going through. And don't forget, a lot of these colors, they do dry darker. So you can see that happening right now. So it's lighter here, dark over there. Which again, totally fine because I have other colors planned to go in on this. But I'm getting there with the chestnut. Chestnut. Oop, back in frame. Let's go back in frame. That'll be helpful. And I do find that when it comes to jumping from my tones, you may find one you want to go a little bit heavier, because I'm finding with this chestnut I want a little bit more on the board than I did with the sweet potato. Sweet potato is still showing through. Let's see here. Versatile, yes. Oh, and hello, Scully. Scully. Oh, I just got it. Ha! Scully. I amuse so easily with names. I really do. Hey! That's a name I haven't seen in a while. It's Crispy Bacon. That was one that was floating around here every so often. They tend to pop off and then pop back on every so often. We'll see. And here, keep going. Almost there. Get to my corner. But there is this, I don't know if it's showing too much. This is where the Mod Podge was a slight issue. There was a seam that cropped up too. Hello, Raven Wolf. Yes, better late than never. You are still here. And you still have a good 40 minutes left. So, hey, you're still getting some QT time with us. Yay! Oh, my goodness. Luckily, because the other boards are smaller, they won't take so much time. And I am definitely going to run out and get some bigger sponges. Luckily, I had these on hand, but I'm going to be adding kitchen sponges to my list of to purchase at the store. I really don't know where those went. I could have sworn I had a whole packet, and they just disappeared. Disappeared on me. All right. So here we are. Now again, I'm just doing sort of the same thing. I'm just jumping through and taking what I have left of the chestnut and dabbing it into some areas where I want a little bit more of that than what I'm seeing. And now at this point, I definitely want to make sure this dries for me. Before. Scully? Hey, there's a first for everything, right? All right, so here we go. I need this to dry. What I'm going to quickly do is just jump back over to my other bits that were drying and see if I can show you how to trim away the excess paper from the corners on the back. So tea first, grab what I need, and I'll be right back. Discuss amongst yourselves. Oh, and also for those of you who are jumping in after I did the whole introduction thing about this textured wallpaper, you can purchase the exact style I got off of my Amazon shop. If you go to my website, www.thecraftingmuse.com, scroll down to the bottom, you'll see the Brewster wallpaper, textured wallpaper there and waiting for you. And that's the other thing. When you purchase from my Amazon website, you're not getting charged extra. You're actually helping me earn a commission. So it's at no extra cost to you. Ta-da! I'll be right back. All right. Yep. Nice and dry. Ready to go. So here we have these edges. And again, it was the whole thing. The reason why I stress the folding back and forth, because it also helps sort of create these nice, stronger creases. So what I'm going to do now is just, can I get this on camera? Awkward angle for me, but I guess, hopefully. So what you want to do is basically you want to trim away this excess, and you can go in, debating. It's kind of hard to show the angle here with my scissors. I might go in and use my finger knife. This is another handy tool, again, on my website for the Amazon shop. All right, I can't show this on the angle how I was doing it off camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to gently score with my finger knife. Score on one side where that fold line is. Flip it over. Score again. And there we go. Okay, and that lifts off. See, you get this little triangle. You can save the triangles if you want. I don't know what you'd use them for, but hey, there you go. So that's how I'm going to show you how to remove these on camera. You can take a pair of scissors to it. I can't show you the angle is the issue. Again, just lightly score. You don't have to press in too deeply at all, but use those fold lines that you had going. This is also why I like this finger knife. It's great for getting into different angles as opposed to just a straight up utility knife. This is more malleable. You can manipulate it more. I do use this guy a lot, and it uses like the standard blades. Ooh, just hit the camera. It uses standard blades like any art knife, but this little hook over the finger, it works with your natural hand motions more, which is why I like it. It's a really good knife. I've had this for, God, 1.5 years or so, even more than that. So that's one of those products where I definitely get a lot of use out of them. Lightly scored. This side needs just a little bit more. There we go. Ta-da! One more to go. Oh yeah, Robert, you have it too and you like it? Fantastic. Fantastic. It helps. I mean, I've used it for like little detail things. Look at that. And it pulls away nicely. So now we have our corners all nice and flush and pulled away. Cap this. This sucker is actually sharp and it can do some interesting things. Jan, thank you so much for joining us today. It is wonderful to see you here as always. The thing I do now is I'm going to go back to my little glue stick, and I will at the corners underneath put some glue down on top here just to make sure those edges stay together. Now the other thing I'm going to do with these after the fact, and I thought of it this morning, of course. So this morning at 10:45, basically as I'm getting set up, what I'm going to do is I'm also going to head back to the store and I'm going to get the grip stuff you can get for rugs. And I'm going to put the grip stuff underneath so that when this goes on top of the table, it'll hold it in place. So this is going to dry now. Ta-da! Let's see, have you nice, look at that. Nice and flat and lightweight. Very lightweight, which is what I want. Let me just go tuck this over here. Ta-da! There's a lot of moving and grooving on this one today. Let me see how this is doing. Okay, yeah. Now we're getting to a nice dried. Perfect. All right, so we've had on here our olive green. It was actually called camouflage from, I think it was Krylon. Was it Krylon? Now remember, sweet potato, burnt umber, and chestnut are all the colors that are on here now. So we have 4 colors on here at this moment. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to start doing more of a dry brushing. So I am moving on to, while I read the chat, Light Mocha. And yes, we're running into names that make me hungry. Hungry. So I'm going to go into Light Mocha. And I'm going to switch over to a brush now. I'm not using the sponge any further. And I do want paper towel so I can blot. Actually, let me throw this out. I don't want the sponge. I don't need the sponge. And I have this nice, this is actually a genuine paintbrush. So I went to the paint section and I've picked up this paintbrush, and this has been great for larger areas that need dry brushing. It's a firmer bristle. It's not as soft. There are craft brushes that you can get that are the same size, but it's a very soft bristle that goes on that. This is far more firm, and it's the firmness that you want in this case. So even though you can find craft paint brushes, I do recommend you get over to your household painting brushes to get a larger, wider, flat one. I know, this is always fun with sponging. And I'm going to dip into the Light Mocha now, and I'm going to start dry brushing instead of doing the sponging. There's the word I want. I'm also trying to think of the best way. I think I might go, this should probably help. And now this is where we're going to start getting the stone texture coming up. And just sweep this across very lightly so that the texture starts popping up. And these are where my 2 lighter colors are coming into play. So right now the Light Mocha is going on. And then I'll do a second round doing Antique White. But you can see how this texture is now, oops, hitting my microphone, popping out more. And this is where you start getting the look of the stones. The cool thing is that there are also little flecks in between, which really gives you that sense of different sizes, which I like. And obviously with the dry brushing, it's going to go a lot faster than with the sponging. But this is also why I like using a actual house painting style paintbrush as opposed to a craft brush, because the stiffer bristles help me work a little bit faster, and it's not going to overload the areas where I'm dry brushing. Hello, Jeremy! How are you? Oh, hopefully you're going to be on tonight. Who am I going to give bunny ears to, dude? Erasmus Expeditions, for those of you who don't know, that is also Jeremy, our darling Talmud on the Dawnbringers. Which is tonight, 8:30 p.m. on Mini Terrain Domain on Twitch. Come and join us, have fun, the chat is lovely. You have myself, you have Jeremy, you have DM Scotty, you have Megan from Dice on Ice, and you have Ted from Nerdarchy. Am I forgetting anyone? And Mini Terrain Domain, Jake, is our DM. It's fun. It's a lovely group of people. Come and hang out with us. You will not regret it. Dry for now. Fingers crossed. Oh, Jeremy, I'm hoping for your sake nothing comes of it. Really and seriously. Flooding you. That's not fun. You'll notice I am changing the direction of my brush every so often. Kind of the same thing like how I said with sponging. You want to change your wrist angles with the sponging. Do the same thing with your brushes. Change your directions every so often. You know, I'm looking at this, I might actually introduce a light gray, she says. And this is what I always do when I go to painting. I get the paints pulled together and sometimes I realize like, you know what? I want some gray in here. So I think I'm going to go in with a light gray between the Antique White and this Light Mocha. Yes, thank you Jess for handling that question. I appreciate that. For those of you just joining us, like my good buddy Jeremy, it's textured wallpaper for this quicker, faster cobblestone effect. So much fun. I am trying to get the brush in just a little bit to get these smaller bits of flecking that look like smaller clumps of stone. Now the fun thing is you can also treat this where as you start getting this going, you could put things in like a little bit of snow after the fact. So kind of give it a frost grave, wintry look to it. That would be a fun thing to do with it. Or you can go in with some spackle. There's the word I want. I'm mentally walking through the hardware store. You can go in with some spackle and kind of take areas and sort of push it in so it looks like it's sort of dirt that's caught up in it. And it is canvas board, my dear friend Jer. Canvas boards that you can find in any art store as a lightweight, easy to get a hold of and work with base that won't warp or be punctured. We discussed that earlier, but that's something to reinforce. Did I have art? Yes, I have an art background. Very much so, Lisa. I took art pretty much all through school and into college. And let me tell you, when you grow up and your house is basically a zone of color wheels and fabrics and whatnot, because again, my mother was an interior decorator, you pick up on the nuances of art and creating things and everything like that. I mean, I've had a glue gun in hand since I was 7 or 8. Yeah. So definitely strong crafting and art background. And it's fun to bring it into this terrain crafting for sure. All right, still going around with a light mocha. Oh, I am so going to have to clean the back of my cutting mat. That's okay. Nothing a little elbow grease won't fix. Probably should put just cardboard down, but whatever. Canvas board is canvas that's been applied to cardboard, essentially. You can find it in the same section where you'd find classic canvas panels in your craft store. You know, same place they have all the easels, the wooden easels and all that fun stuff, your oil paints. That is where you can find these canvas boards. And Michael's has it, Walmart has them. I'm sure, you know, places like, I don't have a Hobby Lobby by me, so I can't speak for their stock. Who else is it? Joanne Fabrics, that's the other. I'm trying to think of like the big craft store names in the different areas. Am I forgetting a hobby shop name? All right, so I am going back in and just adding a little bit more here and there. But I do like how this is looking. Just giving a couple areas a little bit more of it. Terrified of your mom's hot glue gun? Let me tell you, you haven't lived until, forget hot glue guns, forget industrial strength hot glue guns, forget low temp hot glue guns. Let's talk about hot wax crucibles. We had one of those at the flower shop I worked at. Want to talk about burn? Oh, honey. Oh my God. I did serious damage to a finger once upon a time because of using, it's like a frying pan. It's cast iron. AC Moore, thank you, Mac Attack. I knew there was another one floating around. AC Moore will also have these. It's basically, it looks like a deep frying pan made of cast iron with a plug on it. So it's kind of like those old school griddles, plug-in griddles you used to see all the time. So you have this sort of glorified frying pan that you plug in, and then, oh, here we go, we're getting there. And then you put in these bricks of wax. Not wax, hot glue. Hot glue. They look like bricks of, I'm thinking of like the scented candle stuff. So you put in these bricks of I did it again, hot glue, and you let it melt. And let me tell you, the first time you accidentally get a drop on the back of your hand or on the tip of your finger, all work is stopping at that moment, and you're getting to a place where there is cold water and or an ice cube, lickety split, because that stuff is nothing to mess around with, but it's used in things like flower shops because it gets a really strong bond as a result. Okay, so this is with the light mocha, which now you can see we're getting more of this stony effect. stony. I'm telling you, you never know these days with what YouTube's gonna be like.
No, you can't say that. Can't do that. No, 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 not allowed. We're gonna demonetize you, honey.
Yeah, very yikes. So hot glue guns have nothing on that. I'll get burned by our industrial one. I'm like, oh, look at that. You're trying to be mean. Aren't you cute? Now my tea is very, very cold. It is napalm. It absolutely is napalm. All right, so I do want to, and this is what I do. I'm looking at this. And I'm like, okay, I do like the warms, but I need a touch of a cool. So I'm going to go into one of my neutral grays. What's a neutral gray? A neutral gray is one that's not going to show brown or not going to show blue. So my tried and true neutral gray, she says that she's looking for it, is somewhere around here. I hope. Where are you? Thought I had elephant gray. Almost. All right, we'll go with the granite. Here, I'm going to use granite gray on this one. Again, apple barrel. This one has more of a neutral aspect to it. It doesn't show up too blue. It doesn't show up too beige, which some grays can do. Neutral means it's kind of sitting right in the middle between your cools and your warms for colors. I was also looking for elephant gray. I have no idea where that went, because that's another one that I really like for a neutral gray from apple barrel is elephant gray, which could be somewhere down here in our craft supply. Am I considering dry brushing a glossy cure? No. Because this is a cobblestone thing, I don't think I'm going to be doing any glossy. I might do more of like a satin as opposed to a full matte. We shall see. And now I'm going to go in. Actually, let me clean my brush. I'm going to clean the brush off of the light Mocha and get a clean paper towel. Clean paper towel. Not my blotting towel, my clean towel. Yoink. I just want to get as much of that light Mocha out as I can. Oh gosh, yes. You are quite right, the Maharishi. It is very much like getting, whoo, ouch. Ow. See, that's the stuff that I'm like, gah. That makes me cringe. Stay away from that stuff. All right, so before I go into my... What was that color? Antique white. Like I knew there was a color I was using before this one, or after this one. Before I'm going into antique white, I'm going to go in now with this granite gray. And I'm going to start bringing it dry brush across the stones as well. And get that going. Yes. Okay, yep. Sometimes you just need that little touch of a different color thrown in. There we go. Like I said, I don't want this completely gray. I do want some color playing through. So I'm getting my warmer tones, and now this granite going in here is helping. You come here. But if you wanted to do this more as a classic gray stone blending, then you can absolutely do your graduated grays, your classic gray colors of, let's see, if I were to do this in grays using colors from Plaid, I would start off with Pavement as my base color, then jump into doing pewter. I believe it's pewter. Then you can jump up to your graphite, different than granite. Graphite, let that dry, then go into granite, and then you can wrap it up with the antique white instead if you want a little bit more gray involved. Oh no. Okay, a little bit more than I wanted there, but we can work with that later. So again, I'm just going through. That might be where I put some wash. My bad, I wasn't paying attention. Again, this is my board. This is mine. It is wallpaper. Textured wallpaper, so it has a mix of paper and vinyl going on. And you can buy it. You can actually buy sample sizes too, depending on your local hardware store. They will sell sample sizes. Some of those tend to be smaller though. I think the largest swatch I've seen possible is like a 12 by 12, which will still, it gives you a decent-ish size, but you're definitely be dealing with more individual tiles. And I wanted to have something a little bit more expansive size-wise. All right, any more of my granite gray? I didn't put enough on the plate. Lisa's on top of it. Lisa's helping with those answers. Thank you, my dear. Again, keep sweeping through. Yeah, I like having this little touch of gray in there. I'm still seeing my warm tones, which I want, but it did need a touch of gray. And if I've left you with a song in your head, my job is done. Haha. Bonus points for anyone who gets that little quick reference there. Yep. That's kind of what I was hoping to achieve, Jeremy. Look at you kind of picking up on my thought process. And what I'll do is I'll grab a couple of the little buildings that I have here once this guy's dry enough, so you can see this in context with other scatter on it. Heck, I might even take some pictures and share it. I will take pictures. So still going through. For some reason, this is getting sucked up big time, which you wouldn't think with the amount of paint that's already on here. But that's why this is taking a little bit longer than the others, because this is a thirsty abode. Don't forget to do your edges too as you're going around. I spill some diesel and then slip about and fall. Ouch! Oh my god! An exhaust pipe? Mac attack! Ow! Ow! Oh, dude! Great filthy... Well, you know you and I go very... See, I think Jake should sometimes film our pre-game chats. Oh, we get a little blue sometimes in the humor department. But hey, for me it's quite helpful with Cantriell because that's where I can throw in those zingers every so often. I love playing Cantriell. Oh my god. She's truly one of my favorite PCs. She's my girl. Oh my god, ouch. I am still cringing over that exhaust pipe. Eee, ouch. Eee, ouch. Oh no. Hold on. I need more of my gray. This is really drinking this up. No, the paper did not. In fact, you don't want to have the adhesive on the back for your own sanity. Go with a straight paper backing. No pre-adhesive stuff set up because that's just... It's that much more work and dry time you're going to have to be fighting with. It's just easier to have it as a paper backing. Apply your own adhesive, whether you want to do the Mod Podge, the PVA glue, the glue stick like I am recommending. Don't get into the whole wallpaper paste. You could if you wanted to. It's a little bit more clunky than what you actually need to do with it. In my book. In the long run, it is your approach, it is your method when you decide to take whatever techniques I share with you and to make it your own. That's the one thing I always stress. You don't have to do it just like what I do. If you come up with a different concept that you want to incorporate it into, that's wonderful and lovely and fantastic. It is your table. Make what goes on your table your own. All right, we're getting there with this gray. I'm actually going to go in a little bit and swirl because I really want to get these small little flecked pieces, get them to be part of the game too. And the granite gray is showing that off a lot better. So at this point, the brush is almost dry while I'm doing this. So it still lets that brown play through. Yeah, let me do a little bit more of that. Gotta turn the board. Oh god, jewelry work. Ouch. I like how we're doing war stories. Injury war stories. What is the worst injury you have ever received in crafting? Dun dun dun. Honestly, I think the worst injury I ever had was when I mean, let's face it, floral work is a sort of craft, if you will. I was stocking the vases back up and one of the vases slipped, and it actually fell into this thumb, and the piece of glass slid under it and almost hit the tendon. That would have changed things. So I had this lovely flap of skin floating around, had to get to the hospital. Luckily, the surgeon stitched me back up, no problem. It was a plastic surgeon. For some reason, they called him a plastic surgeon for a cut like this. He got it all squared away and taken care of. And now I have a lovely V-shaped scar on my right thumb. So see, the name V was just meant to be. There is a puddle that's a little bit deeper. Oh, well. Again, this is my experimenting board, so. And I am going to do a wash on this. I was debating it. But I'm liking how the granite gray is going in and it's picking up the smaller stones. Well, flecks, but in this case, it's translating as stones into my eyes. So kind of just taking the brush and swirling it around. And again, let's see if I can bring this up a little bit. You can see how this is getting more of a stone-like look to it. And get that going. Da-da-da. Oh, well, there you go. Thank you, Jeremy. That makes sense. See, close up. Close up here. I am going to do a wash on this. Just to bring out the depth a little bit more. I'm going to do one last round first with the, where'd it go again? Antique white. Keep looking to this side when it's over on that side. Okay, light mocha, da-da-da. I gotta make sure I tuck my paints to the corner over here. I gotta tell you, I'm loving my new art desk setup. It has been so much easier to get stuff done. I do need to shift over to a clean piece of cardboard at least for this. All right, so I'm gonna go in with light, not light, the antique white. And that'll be my last round. And again, this is going to be a very light dancing across it. I am going to wash my brush off so I do not have the granite gray still in my brush. But yeah, this is getting a really fun cobblestone look to it. A field of bones with the right colors. Oh! That's very interesting, Scully. See, that's why it's fun to share projects with you guys, because you come into it with different perspectives. I like that. Very, very cool. All right, so yeah, you could play around with this. I could see that sort of translating into leaves. If you take it from where I was doing the warmer tones, keep it in the more warmer tone section. The bones thing is interesting. Very interesting concept there. All right, brush is clean. Moving over to my antique white. This is sort of the last hurrah with an overcoat color. Again, just change it up a little bit. Let me get you back up here. I just zened out, so I'm so sorry. I just totally went into zen mode. If I go completely quiet, my brain's going, ooh, the pretty paints. Hey, what you... Oh, why can't I never say your name? What you looking at? What you looking at? Jesus Christ. Why did it take me this long to figure it out? Hey, what you looking at? She can be taught, folks. She can be taught. All right, this is definitely, I'm having fun with this. There we go. I think what I might do where I have these accidental paint splotches is once I get everything dry brushed and then do the wash. Still debating what color wash I want to do. I'm then going to go back into where these little accidental splotches happened, and I'm going to make it look like mud. Because that would be kind of fun to incorporate into cobblestone. Muddy. A muddy look. So then, oh! How did I forget about this? I woke up this morning. It was like 6 a.m. My alarm clock goes off every morning because, kids in school. Fun. Yay. I will kind of check my social media stuff while the Hubs is doing the whole get ready for work thing and the kids are starting to get up and brush their teeth, all that loveliness. So I take that little quiet moment and I'll check my social media and my email. And in checking my Twitter account as well as my email account, I had the organizer for the workshop sending me all this questions about supplies, when things are going to get pulled together, shipping and stuff. So I was going back and forth with him about the stuff I need for the workshops. And at the same time, I'm going back and forth with a couple people about panels. So I'm definitely going to be doing panels, not just one, panels and workshops at PAX. So you'll definitely have a chance to come and watch the workshops, I think is how he's getting it set up. So you can either participate or you can watch. And then also the panels, I'm going to be doing a panel theoretically, still in the process. They still have to get them approved and everything. I'm going to be doing another panel again with Dr. B, my buddy Dr. B, the Dr. B on Twitter, as well as Dr. Megan Connell. She's asked me to consider doing one, if not two, and then I need to check and see if we're going to be reprising the ones we did with Nerdarchy for Keystone. Have those come back around again at PAX. So I will be out there doing things. Keep an eye out for me. Absolutely. Please come and say hello after the fact. I do try and hang around after the events so that people have a chance to come up and chit-chat and all that loveliness. But yeah, heads up on that one. Hello, Dustins and Dragons, as I look up at the chat. That's a good question. I have this infuriating knack of being able to eyeball things. So for me, I don't really worry as much as a DM with having a tracker thing, but I have seen some really cool options for how you can do a tracker. Some people take something as simple as a popsicle stick and they will notch off, inch spacings on that. You can go on to Etsy and things like that. People have genuine true blue trackers for distance if you want to do that. I kind of just guesstimate for the most part, and usually it's enough. But what I find... Okay, this is a conversation I wasn't expecting to have, but we're going to have it. I find, as both player and DM, especially when I was doing BB's Place. Oh my god, BB's Place. When you don't present a grid, your players are far more inclined to work with the full environment as opposed to just the spaces where they see the squares. So I had things like at BB's Place, players doing stuff like, oh, well, I'm going to pick up the couch and shove it up the chimney. Well, the couch was just sitting there. There was no grid, and it didn't look like it was attached or anything like that. So it gave them the freedom to consider using more things in a different manner. So for me, I tend to go grid-free. It's just my personal preference. That's not saying you can't do this with a grid if you wanted to. Say you get this all set up and you actually want to incorporate a grid later. You can go in with a ruler and just, very light pencil lines and everything like that, where you can add in your grid after the fact. That is an extra step you can do if you want to have grids incorporated into your terrain. I, as personal preference, don't do grids, which is why you'll see on most of my terrain, outside of dungeon tiles, quite frankly, there's no grid for my approach. But I have played on systems where there are grids on them, on the terrain. I've played where there is absolutely no terrain whatsoever. Theater to mine. I mean, heck, that's Dawnbringers for us. But yeah. All right, here we go. I'm getting my last little couple sweeps in here of the antique white. Yeah, I'm going to go back in where those... That's going to be fun to translate into mud. Mud, or maybe even water, like slick it up and make it look like a puddle. Remember what Bob Ross says, they're only happy accidents. All right. I'm liking this a lot. So here we go. That gives you a sense of what this looks like now with your different stone colors. I'm thinking I might do a black wash now that I'm looking at this. Yeah, this is going to get a black wash to jump into the city grime and what the cobblestone streets would naturally collect. So this is going to get a black wash on it, but I want to make sure this paint is completely dry before I go in and do that. Again, because this wallpaper is made to take paint, it's sticking on there just fine. Once I do the black wash, I might go back in and do another quick dry brushing, probably with the antique white again, just to get that going. And then absolutely, because this is being used as a mat, this absolutely will need to be sealed. I am most definitely going in with straight up Mod Podge matte as my sealing option. I could use the Mod Podge Ultra Matte. That would take a few layers worth. Actually, I might, now that I'm saying it, I might go in and do a few layers of my Mod Podge Matte Spray Ultra and modeling the brown washes. That's an idea, Jeremy. It's, oh, now you got me thinking. But this is what this looks like now painted up. I am glad I brought in the gray a little bit. Give me 1 second. I'm going to grab a couple buildings so you can see where I'm going to do something.
1 moment, please.
Because I have the buildings, they're just not available. All right, you are coming with me. Oh, let's grab the church. Why not? All right, here I got buildings and I got other cityscapey things. I'm back. Our game area is right over there, so I can just quickly dodge over. Okay, so we have one of the fountains that I made a long time ago, and I do have, I think it's like a 3 video series for terrain fountains. So that's your fountain there. Oh, let's say there's a bridge for some reason, and then I have this is a Michael's birdhouse turned into chapel church, if you wanted to. But you can see as you start getting stuff on here, it starts to translate into a cobblestone, which is exactly what I hoped for. So this is definitely an option to get for those of you who are looking for something that's a little bit more accelerated. Again, the key here was lightweight, durable, compact. This is definitely giving me all of that. What? No running water. No running water on this one. Not. I am going to make a fountain with light features for Cobalt. That's another thing that's on deck. Maybe I'll do it for one of these streams. But yeah, you can see how this just sort of now takes on this whole, definitely doing a black wash. Maybe I might actually, like Jeremy suggested, that could be cool. Kind of blend them together. I like how you think, sir. No bunny ears for you tonight. You actually good. No, I'm kidding. Maybe I might still do bunny ears. How about moose horns? Have you got those yet? So yes, this is definitely a very fun way to incorporate the look of cobblestone. Oh, I need a mini for scale.
Hey, mini.
It's not painted, but I have a few over here.
Hey, mini.
Yeah, once you start putting minis on, I'll get a picture of this so you can see how this translates. But yeah, I've got a nice cobblestone mat ready for city terrain. Durable right there. Haha. Yeah, once you get the buildings on, once you get your context going, that's what starts transforming things. So for those who are saying like, oh, I'm seeing this, I'm seeing that. But seriously, I think that's great that you're seeing other potential options with this, because you will get a roll of this stuff if you decide not to go for the sample pieces. Use it to your advantage and go from there. So this was the cobblestone mats. Like I said, I still have to do the whole washes, which I want this to dry a little bit more before I jump into that. So when I get the wash on, once I do that, get the final round of dry brush, I'll let you know whether I do an antique white or what color I decide to jump over to. I will get pictures of this. There's the word I want. Pictures of this, as well as lay it out with more terrain pieces on it so you can see it in context. So that the pig and cart would look great on it. You're right. Okay, so I'll include sandwich in the glamour shots. How's that? And yes, you could if you wanted to, because you're going to have scrap pieces left over. Like I have scrap over here. I purposely saved this so I could put it onto different things. So yeah, this gives you a lot of variety. This gives you a lot of options. Again, look at the different textures available out there too, because you can change it up. You can get something that's more like a watery look to it, or a desert look to it. There's actually one that's called Woven, and it kind of has almost a grass-like look to it. So there's just a bunch of different ways to approach this, but I wanted to bring out the fact that this textured wallpaper is out there, and you can do a lot of cool stuff with it. There's even some that have like a more decorative, like fleur-de-lis and things like that, where if the scale is right, you can almost make it look like a really intricate tile work. But yeah, so this is where I'm going to call it for today. I don't want to rush anything and then kick myself, but taking the concepts I have from here, there's going to be a couple slight tweaks I'll make for the kobold ones, but I wanted you to see this concept as it comes pulled together. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining me. I know we're done already. Can you believe that? I love seeing you all in the chat. You're wonderful with each other. Thank you so much for jumping in and helping out with questions, too. Don't forget, one last time, if I can get my mouse over there, Easy Dice Roller Company, they are still holding that giveaway where you can get the chance to get the reversible dice bag, the dice tray that coordinates, as well as a set of metal dice, gorgeous metal dice. So take a look at that as well. Come and find me over on Twitter. Come and find me over on Twitch tonight on Mini Terrain Domain as we do our Dawnbringers, Ghost of Saltmarsh. I think we might see some Ghost Night too. I'm excited. Where else? Instagram. Find me on Instagram. Do be sure to check out Chris Gorka while you're there, as well as Tabletop Creations. And that is it for me for this week. Take care, everyone. I will see you again. I'm glad you're having fun, everyone. I really big hugs and kisses to all of you. I will see you in a few hours on Twitch. Twitch. On Mini Terrain Domain. We start around 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or Daylight Time right now, EDT. So take care. Be good to each other. Have fun crafting. Always be creative. And I will see you on the flip side. Bye, everybody.